hip hop soul and the crowd. Yeah.
All right, everybody, welcome back in. It is the Rob and Stu Show, Week 7 college football pick show. We're rolling right along after a absolutely AIDS-riddled weekend. Not one of us had a good weekend. Not one of us above 500. Pretty horrific. Hopefully we right the ship. I feel like this is the week we right the ship. Although I will say I hate this board. I hate it. I don't like any of the games, and this is not going to be pleasant. And my game of the year pick lost on the 1 yard line. And there should have been a touchdown at the end that was called back. Brutal. Chris, did you watch that Texas State ULL game?
No, I didn't.
God almighty. Multiple turnovers in the red zone. I think
and like 7 other people probably watched.
They only punted 3 times in the entire game.
Poor Stu's family was probably waiting upstairs for like dinner, and Daddy's in the basement.
I was cursing. It was brutal.
I see the hole. I see the hole in the wall behind you.
It was a bad beat. It was a real bad beat. But
tough scenes at the birthday party when you're screaming and cursing about.
I was kicked out.
Yeah, you were asked to leave.
Man, I wish I'd have caught on to that South Florida UAB total earlier.
Oh, boy. That was a great call by you. Yeah,
it didn't help me on the podcast, but we did use it as a totals play on Saturday, so that was good.
Nice. And before I forget,
our sides were shit, though.
Before I forget, CVD, this is a big weekend for NC Sports. This is a big weekend here. Paul Sports Network. Like, subscribe. JC's doing a whole bunch of Georgia previews with Arthur Lynch and Bakari Rambo, and he's got a whole bunch of Georgia players on there. Very exciting stuff. Check that out. Check us out on the Paul Sports Network and CBD Customer Appreciation Week over at NC Sports. I love it. Giving a little rub and tug to the customers this week, Rob style.
We owe him one.
Yeah, you do. But we got going this week, and I think 4-star NFL game of the month.
NFL game of the month going this week. We did win our NFL game of the month last month on Denver versus Chicago over. And we are, it hasn't been a great year, but we are 4-0 in our game of the months. So we had college totals, college side, NFL, and small college game of the month last month, all won. The only one that was really close was the South Carolina side, the college, small college, the total, college total, the NFL play all won pretty easily. So we're doing good on our big plays. We're doing okay on our totals. Our small college was 3-0 last week. We had North Dakota State, Villanova, and Virginia when that line dropped to 7. I couldn't believe it dropped over to 7. But so our star-rated small college plays went 3-0 last week. And, it's just those college sides, man. We are struggling in those, both Power Sweep and our late phones. But, yeah, Customer Appreciation Week and our NFL Game of the Month is going off this weekend. Go to ncsports.com. You can also call 1-800-654-3448.
Yeah, we're in the teeth of the football season right now. I feel like Vegas is super sharp. Like that Ohio play I had last week. The line dropped to 25. The game ended at 25, a 25-point win for Ohio. And it's like Vegas knows what they're doing.
They're locking in on those big games. It's tough.
Well, even small games, they're just dialed in.
Well, think about Bama and A&M. If that touchdown doesn't get called back, the A&M scored at the end. It'd have been a 2-point game, which is where the line fell.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And unfortunately, A&M had to settle for that field goal. I could have used the push on that one.
Yeah. Roberto, how have you been? Are you okay? Phillies. CBD, I saw a tweet late last night from Rob. I haven't talked to him much. He said, and I quote, "I can't wait for death after the Phillies game." Your thoughts?
I bet the Braves yesterday.
Yeah. Me too. I haven't told Rob that. Rob, your thoughts?
I hope you bet them in game. They were up to like +7. I know a couple of guys that had got them at like +750 during the middle of the game
I
when they were down
wish.
4 runs. Yeah, I mean that's. I had the feeling the whole game the Phillies had left 11 men on base, so many chances to add on. You leave a lineup like that hanging around, that's what you get. I mean, they were gonna wake up, and of course, it had to happen in the late innings. And I hate baseball, so
Tell you what, whoever wins that series is going to end up going to the World
that's what
Series.
I think. Yeah, absolutely.
Because
I
the
think it
Dodgers
does
look
look
like
a bad
crap,
game.
and I don't think the Diamondbacks are gonna go that far.
Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely think the World Series is coming out of that series.
Yeah.
So
Who is
we'll see
Luis
tomorrow.
Gonzalez for 400?
That's right.
Let's get it going. Let's talk a little CFB. Bobcat knows that this show is going on. He may call in. He may not. We'll see what happens.
65 different plays.
Yeah. Roberto, we'll let you lead off with your picks. Now, coming into this week, tough week last week. As I look at the results, a nice little, what is that? 2-4 week for you. Coming off a 2-4 week, 15-14 overall, 3-3 on your dogs. However, your locks are stone cold, Steve Austin. 5-1 on the locks. Roberto, what you got?
Not messing around. UCLA last week was probably the only good winner I had. I really did like them, but there were some bad ones after that. But we'll get after it this week. First play of the weekend for me, Oklahoma State. Kansas is obviously the better team. Kansas has played good football. I mean, every game Kansas is putting up 40-something points. But I think Oklahoma State, after they got beaten that South Alabama game, I like their defense. I kind of like the way they've been playing. And once again, I'm a numbers guy. I love the number here. Only a 3-point dog. Yes, they're at home. It's 3.5 in some books.
Yeah, I've seen 3.5. It's
Yeah.
moved up, and Jalen Daniels out for this game. Jake Bean will continue to play quarterback.
So yeah, I like the number in this spot. I like the way Oklahoma State's playing defense. Listen, Kansas is a good team. I'm not going to say they're not. Obviously, they're 23rd in the country coming in, but unranked versus rank at only 3.5 points. I love the number here, and I'll take the points at the three. The key number is the 3.5 because I guarantee you Kansas wins by 3. I really think Oklahoma State falls within this number, especially the 3.5. That's key.
Do you want it at 3.5 for the play?
Yes. Yeah. FanDuel has it at 3.5. I think that's the key number.
I like that play, Rob. That's our power sweep underdog play of the week.
My man.
Well, I think I found
it last week too.
I think I found an addition to my card. Continue, Roberto.
Okay. Next bet, SEC. Absolutely love South Carolina on Saturday. Listen, I know they haven't played great. I'm a Spencer Rattler guy, though. I'm a Spencer Rattler truther. But I like them in this spot. It's more of a play to me because I can't stand Florida's team. I think Florida stinks. I really do. Merch stinks. The coach hasn't impressed me coming over from the Raging Cajuns. I love South Carolina in this spot. Even last season, South Carolina, they started a little slow. They got better towards the end of the season. I love them in this spot on Saturday. They're laying 2.5. I think they cover it easy. To cover my ass, I'd probably go money line because you just never know with fluky lines like that. But I love South Carolina in this spot, and Florida stinks. I don't understand the Florida hype at all. Kentucky took it right to them. I'm not impressed with Florida one bit.
Kentucky also has a running game that South Carolina does not.
They do. Then they have a pretty decent offense and defensive line, Kentucky. I mean, I thought, like I said to you, Stu, on the broadcast, what's that? What is his name? McElroy?
Greg McElroy, yeah.
Yeah, I thought he said it perfect. He said Kentucky was a terrible matchup for Georgia because Kentucky is basically Georgia light. They try to bully teams going up front, and like he said not to but you're not going to out Georgia. So I didn't think that was I thought that was a pretty good way of saying it. But yeah, I like South Carolina in this spot. I think they win easy. Next play, I love Oregon getting the 3 points. Listen, I understand Penix is a very good quarterback. Washington's a good team. Stu loves Washington. That's his favorite team.
They
He
can
was all
burn in hell.
yeah. And Stu loves Washington.
I hope
I
those
like
dogs die in the Iditarod. Continue.
I like this Oregon team. I think Dan Lanning's a good coach. I think they're going to go into Washington, and I think they're going to beat this team, man. I'm telling you right now. I think Nick's. I don't think he's better than Penix, but I like Oregon's team as a whole better than Washington's team. Obviously Washington has a lot of talent. They're good on offense, but I like a good defense traveling on the road. I love Oregon in this spot. Love
Defense
Oregon.
travels.
That's right. That's right. What other plays did I have? Oh yeah, I like Pitt getting the 7.5 at home to Louisville. I like betting.
New stud tight end for the Panthers too.
Who was that?
Their former quarterback Jurkovic. He's playing tight end.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they still have him listed as the second quarterback on their depth chart, though. I was kind of surprised by that.
Mm.
But yeah, he is.
Been a great
They announced that they're moving him to tight end. I don't know what the purpose is for. It's not like he's going to get good enough at playing tight end that he actually is going to get on the field before the end of the season.
Yeah,
Pat Narduzzi is the most lukewarm, bad version of Dave Wannstedt coach you will ever find.
I don't know. He's done a pretty good job.
I disagree,
man.
I disagree.
Good job.
He is piss warm.
Oh, come on. They've had one bad season.
6 wins. 6 wins.
That's
you know why you're
7.
saying this, because you
Stu,
know.
Did you ever think that Pitt would ever win the ACC?
I thought it was possible just because of where they're at. Yep.
No one in
the
Pittsburgh
ACC. Well, let's.
They had their
look at all
first
the
10-win
ACC
season
teams.
since 1982.
Chris is dead on. This guy did a phenomenal job at Pitt.
Now, I will say this.
Okay,
Stu,
can I bring up the Western Michigan loss at home?
He has some bad losses. There's no doubt about that. But they've won at least 7 games in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 8. 6 out of 8 years.
Warm. That's
what
they are.
Pittsburgh, you don't understand the how Pitt football works. They are never going to be better than what they are now.
Larry Fitzgerald.
But they weren't better with Fitzgerald.
And they were good.
Fitzgerald. But they were in the Big East.
They weren't even that good.
How dare you talk down about the Big East?
Stu is wrong, because even when Fitzgerald was in the Big East, they would lose to Rutgers.
And they only won 8 or 9 games.
Dominant. Yeah, they were not dominant.
They've had 2 10-win seasons since Johnny Majors. One with Wannstedt and one with Narduzzi. I mean, he's doing about now.
Okay, then I'll rephrase it. Pat Narduzzi now is Dave Wannstedt the later years.
Yeah, but Wannstedt was in a weaker conference. Well, the one thing I'll say that I agree, and where I don't like Narduzzi, is he is stubborn and he wants to win his way, and he criticized his offensive coordinator, who put up a lot of points.
Mark D'Antonio.
He was throwing the ball too much. And he has this old school attitude. He can't keep it like I didn't like his comments recently about the offensive coordinator and the whole quarterback situation, because they asked him about benching Jurkovic when he was struggling, and he said, "Well, the personnel decisions are up to my offensive coordinator. I spend 85% of my time with the defense. I don't like passing the buck like that. That I don't like. There's some things about him I don't like. The bad losses after big wins and stuff like that I don't like. But in terms of overall success in a better conference than Pitt's ever been in, he's done better than I ever expected. I never thought Pitt could win the Big East. I mean, the ACC.
Okay.
The ACC.
Is
I
this
never
Pat
thought it would happen in a
Narduzzi's
million
last
years.
head coaching job?
What's that?
Is this Pat Narduzzi's last head coaching job?
I doubt it. He's done well enough.
He's going to be the head coach at Michigan State in January.
No, he is not.
No, he ain't. No, he ain't.
Is he moving up from Pittsburgh, or is he moving down from Pittsburgh in his next gig?
This year is what happens after this year is going to be very important. Is he ever going to move up? Probably not. But he might be there for a long time. I think he's like the second winningest coach in Pitt history.
That's not saying much.
But that's you have to understand the hierarchy of Pittsburgh sports and how Pittsburgh does not. He has no home field advantage. You ever gone to a Pitt game? They have zero home field advantage.
Oh, it's Temple adjacent.
It's terrible. I went when they had Shady
weak.
McCoy, and I mean they had a decent team then. And
I saw Fitzgerald play. Yeah,
I mean, I was surprised at that. You would think like a city like that, like someone to the Steelers. When I first went there, like me and my dad and my uncles, I'm like, oh, they're going to be into it. It was like, nah, nobody really.
The order of things in Pittsburgh are Penguins, Steelers, 1A, 1B, depending.
Mm-hmm.
Pirates. Anything else going on than Pitt football.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't care.
Penn State's up there. Great school. Isn't that
West
right,
Virginia.
Rob?
West Virginia. Oh, please. But I do like them getting 7.5 at home Saturday. I think Louisville's a good team, but I think Louisville coming off a huge win at home like that, going place, like you're just talking about, like a place in Pittsburgh that's going to be half empty. I think it's hard to get up for some of those games. Louisville, obviously will probably win the game, but I think Pitt can cover that number easily at 7.5. I really do. I also like Notre Dame. I love Notre Dame. Listen, number 10 in the country versus number 21 in the country, and Notre Dame's laying the points. They're telling you right there. Notre Dame, I thought, played a lot of big games in a row. They flatlined in Louisville, obviously. They had the huge win in Duke the week before. The thing with USC to me is their defense sucks, USC. They are terrible on defense. I think Hartman will be able to move the ball. I don't even think USC's offensive line is that great. I mean, Caleb just does so much. Obviously he's got him at number 10 in the country, but I think Notre Dame wins this game going away. I really do. I think the line speaks volumes. I think that Miami, North Carolina game is going to be really interesting. How does this team bounce back? Chris, I don't know your thoughts last Saturday on that game, but that was some of the most incredible thing. That's one of the most incredible things I've ever seen as a college football fan and a gambler. I mean, that was disgusting how they lose that game.
It's stupid. It's Mario Cristobal has to wear that loss completely.
It's the second time I do think it.
But I know. But I do think they're a very good team. They dominated Georgia. The yardage before that drive that Georgia
Chris, I watched the game too. It's incredible. Like, it was utter domination. Haynes King, that's literally the best play they had all night.
Yeah, the yardage before that play was like 453 to 175.
Jesus.
Or before the fumble, which, by the way, he was down.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
I saw a still photo today that I know I don't like to go off still photos, but the guy clearly had the ball and his elbow was on the ground. I was like, ooh.
I saw that today. Yeah, don't show that to Stu's friend. Full scoop onto you.
Don't show it to Scoop onto you. Don't show it to him.
And listen, before I turn it over to
mental
Stu,
facility today.
Before I turn it over to Stu and Chris, the two experts on this show, I'm just a sick degenerate gambler. The play of the weekend, the Scarlet Knights, 5.5, laying it at home versus the Michigan State Spartans.
Is that your lock?
Can't wait for
Rob?
this game.
Is that another
lock of the weekend? Lock it up. Greg Schiano is going to send Mel Tucker's secondary crew back home on FaceTime, doing what they do on the bus.
Rutgers minus 5.5.
New Brunswick's going to be fired up on Saturday. The Scarlet Walk. I mean, it's just the boys will be there. The boys
Let the Belk Bowl know they're on notice.
That's right.
Let
them
know.
Get the mayonnaise ready, baby. We're coming.
Get the Music City trumpets going because they're heading.
Listen, if you can spend New Year's Eve in Detroit in a casino, getting ready for the Motor City Bowl.
If they go to the Motor City Bowl, Rob,
we're going.
Yes,
I'm going.
I will absolutely go 100%. And I
Tony
better see the whole
Stan.
crew.
Yeah.
Tell Jeff Get the van going. The van those degenerates took to Syracuse. Get that going.
Yeah, and I want to like get an Airbnb right in 8 Mile. I want the full 8 Detroit experience.
Okay. All right. So Rob looks at Fallujah like a future resort town. So that's exciting.
Oh, I'm from New Jersey.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's fair enough. CVD, Mr. Monday night, Mr. Tuesday night, the whole effing show, the MVP of this show, the face that runs the place, essentially, for this college football pick show, because it don't go without him, folks. Mr. FCS, Mr. Worldwide, Mr. Dangerous, CVD, Chris Van Dyne, NCSports.com.
I don't think I Mr. anything until I start winning some bets, because
CVD, this is a positive vibes only show.
Yeah, you got to get it going. Absolutely.
We got to pump you up. Hard times make
hard for me to be excited right now when I'm watching Jacksonville State walk down the field on Liberty. I'm like, what the hell? I got Liberty on a money line. I didn't even take this.
Oh no, betting against Rich Rodriguez. I did it last week.
God, they've been so lucky. How do you keep getting your ass kicked in the first half and winning games? I mean, we'll see.
I texted Steele last week and I said, when I tell you it's Easter, paying eggs with Middle Tennessee State was up 23.
Oh yeah, he please.
I look back, they're down 38. I'm like, oh my God.
What did I tell you? Suck my nutsack. That's what.
Rob, you know where we messed up? We should have said first half line.
Yeah, there you go.
Jacksonville State got beat up by Sam Houston in the first half the week before. We should have played it safe, went with the first half line. We'd have won easy, but we had to, we didn't think like that. We thought full game, and
you got to get greedy.
Lesson learned.
CVD, you're coming into this week 16-22, 2-6 on your dogs, 2-6 on your locks. At least you're consistent across the board. CVD, let's right the ship this week. This is the week we right the ship. It's been off track, it's been off course. Now we start steering it in the right direction. What you got?
All right, I'm going to go 2 dogs. I'm going to start with a Friday game. I've got Memphis plus 3.5 against Tulane. Memphis 26-4 straight up at home since I believe it's 2019. It's just been a team that's dominated at home. Since 2019, 26-4 straight up at home. I don't know about this Tulane team. I think the public was all over them a couple of years ago or last year. They had a really successful season. Obviously, beat USC, but they don't seem as dominant. They didn't impress me against UAB. They gave up a lot of yards in that game. And, looking at who they've beat, South Alabama's been a very disappointing team. They played Ole Miss closer than I expected. I'll give them credit for that. Southern Miss stinks. They beat Southern Miss. Nichols stinks. They beat Nichols. UAB getting better. I will say getting better. Impressed me last week, especially offensively. But really, really poor defense, and that's their wins. So now they're going to Memphis. This is a Memphis team that hung around with Missouri a couple weeks ago in a neutral site, which I thought they actually played pretty well in that game. Aside from that, they just beat Boise State by 3 at home, and they're getting 3.5 at home here. So I think the Tigers could actually pull the outright upset. But I will take the 3.5. One other dog I'm going to use, I've got Auburn, and I'll tell you a couple reasons for this. One, I think LSU's got to be tired. They have had some high-scoring, up-and-down affairs 3 straight weeks against Arkansas, Ole Miss, and Missouri. Their defense is – I don't know what happened. They had talent. They're really struggling at corner. I know Deuce Chestnut, the Syracuse transfer, didn't travel last week. It sounds like he might not even be with the team anymore. They're allowing their opponents to put up 53 yards per game more than their average. They've given up almost 400 yards passing the last 2 teams they played, Missouri and Mississippi. Now, Auburn's not going to throw for 400 yards. They're not going to throw for 300. But they should play better if they can throw a little bit. And I think when Peyton Thorne has a little time and space to throw, I think they do play a little better. They gave Georgia one hell of a game a couple weeks ago. They're fresh off a bye. LSU is a tired team. Auburn has the better defense. All the angles in this series say take the dog. The dog is 7-0. The 13 of the last 19 meetings have finished been decided by single digits. The visitor is 8-1 against the spread, and Auburn is on the road here. Auburn's covered the last 4 meetings. So, yeah, Auburn was winning this game 17-0 last year, and I think they can keep this closer than I believe it's 11 or 11.5.
11.5.
Yeah, I don't love Peyton Thorne, but, he has shown something. I do know that Hugh Freeze also said he took a little more control of the play calling against Georgia, more RPOs, because he was not happy that they didn't run a single RPO against Texas A&M, according to Hugh Freeze. He said he was ready to rip his hair out after that. So they put more RPOs in the offense, which is his bread and butter, and played pretty well against Georgia. Only lost by a touchdown. As far as my lock goes, I'm going back to the SEC. I'm going to Alabama. And one thing one reason I'm jumping on this, another tired team, Arkansas. The last 4 weeks, 7-point loss to BYU, 3-point loss to LSU, 12-point loss to A&M, and a 7-point loss to Ole Miss. This is their 4th straight week playing away from home. They have only actually they're going to go from September 16th to October 21st without playing a home game.
Wow,
it's a rough stretch. And who do you get in your 4th straight game away from home? Alabama. Arkansas had 5 defensive players leave the game last week. 5 defensive starters left the game against Ole Miss last week by the end of the game. 3 of them are not playing for sure this week. They were already down their best corner, Dwight McLaughlin, going into last week, and they were missing their left tackle. This is a team that is beat to hell. They're going to be 2-6 or 2-5 after this week. That's a guarantee. No matter what they do, I don't think KJ has it in him to pull this upset. He has also gotten his beat up really bad. Last week, he ran the ball 17 times. The week before, A&M they were beating the crap out of him. He got sacked 7 times against A&M. And on top of it, he at one point, he got hit 7 straight plays. They were hitting him on almost every time he tried to throw the ball. He's beat up. This team is beat up. They're going to want to get out of Alabama and just –
This Bama defense is legit, too.
Yeah. Now, the good news for Arkansas is after this week, 4 of their next 5 games are at home. So I think they're going to say, you know what?
Starting with Mississippi State. And that
right, which is a very winnable game. Very winnable game for Arkansas. You're going to say, all right, we want to just get out of this game as healthy as we can be and rest some guys up, try to beat Mississippi State. Then they got a bye week. Then they go to Florida. That's a tough game. But even if you lose that one, you get Auburn, FIU, and Missouri. Your last 3 games are all at home. You might be able to squeak out a 6-6 season if you can manage to stay healthy enough to win some games down the stretch. But if you go balls to the wall against Alabama, you might not have enough guys to beat any of those teams. So, yeah, give me Bama minus 19.5. Couple other games.
One thing, too, the Arkansas defense stinks. They stink.
Yeah, they're bad. Well, you know what? They actually are not as bad as you would think. But
the only game I watched them in was BYU, and I had enough because
they only gave up 281 yards in that game.
Yeah,
30. It was a weird game.
Yeah,
it was a weird game because it felt like it felt like Keaton Slovis was thrown all over him.
Mm-hmm.
It just was timely. It was timely.
Yeah.
Couple other games I'm going to go with. I'm going to go Georgia minus 31.5 because Vanderbilt is god awful. They haven't covered yet this year, and I think Georgia's just going to get on a roll now, and they have no mercy for
CVD. What is it like? 100-14 in the past 2 years.
117-0. And
Okay.
the story behind that is the COVID year. Georgia was supposed to play Vanderbilt at home in their last home game, and Vanderbilt canceled the game, said that because of COVID, even though they didn't have it didn't seem like they had enough positive tests to cancel the game. So Vanderbilt canceled the game and they wouldn't reschedule it. And Georgia got really upset because they canceled their senior day. And then Georgia proceeded to beat the crap out of them the next 2 years. And I don't think they're going to let up this year because Vanderbilt's special bad.
Kenny Seals ain't it. And I appreciate Kenny Seals, but is he starting? Is AJ Swan still out?
I'm not sure yet. I don't really care.
Yeah, I mean
Vanderbilt's
it doesn't
gonna.
matter, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? The best quarterback they had last year plays for Mississippi State, Mike Wright.
Yeah, that's true.
I am also going to take Oklahoma State. I do like that play, Rob. Good call. And then one other game. I have to bring this game up because you know I'm a diehard Tennessee fan. Tennessee has won 12 straight home games. Texas A&M has lost their last 7 true road games. So naturally, I'm taking Texas A&M to win this game.
Okay.
Couple things about this game that really strike me. First, the benchmark is 30 points. If Tennessee gets to 30 points, I think they can win this game. But Josh Heupel is 0-7 straight up and against the spread in his entire coaching career when his teams have been held under 30 points. I think this A&M defense has the makeup to hold Tennessee under that number. Reason I think that is because Tennessee's offense typically struggles the most when they can't run the ball. Think about who has given Tennessee the biggest problems the last 3 years since Heupel got there. Georgia. Tennessee's had games where they move the ball against Florida.
Real quick, is this line not weird to you? This is a very weird line.
I think it's a respect for A&M line. I think Vegas values A&M more than the rankings do.
Do you think at all that Texas A&M gets up so big last week for a game like at home versus Alabama, plays great, weakens down the stretch, and now goes in here just flatlining?
If it was a win, maybe, but with a loss, their second loss of the season, no.
Can I give you a look ahead line that is very interesting?
Yeah.
Next weekend, Bama, Tennessee. Bama laying 8.5 at home to Tennessee.
Tennessee struggles on the road. I probably would take Bama.
Also, Penn State getting 5.5 at Ohio State. Roberto, you could be betting your favorite team.
I hate them both. I hate Penn State more though. So,
but I say that to say this. I feel like this A&M plus 3.5 is. It's a very weird line. I would expect it to be 2.5. I'm interested. What did the game open up as?
I don't know what it opened up as. I know last week, according to Vegas power ratings, Tennessee was supposed to be about a 5-point favorite. But,
how good is Chris, you're a Tennessee fan. You know Tennessee better than me. How good is Tennessee's offensive line? Can they hold up versus defensive line at Texas A&M's?
See, and that's where I have concerns because now they looked better against South Carolina when they got Cooper Mays back. But this A&M defensive line is elite.
Oh, that's good.
They shut Bama's run game down. Bama ran for 23 yards last week. 26 carries for 23 yards. Tennessee was held to 100 rushing yards by Florida. Now, they've run on everybody else, but the other 4 defenses they've played have sucked. Last year, they were held to 94 rushing yards against Georgia. They put up 13 points. They were held to 55 rushing yards the year before against Georgia, held to 17 points. Held to 65 rushing yards against Alabama in 21, held to 24 points. A lot of people think this Tennessee offense is a pass-first offense. It's not. They have to run the ball. The games where they're really successful, the games where they put up big numbers, is when they run the ball well, which opens up those downfield passes. They have to get into a 2nd and 3, 3rd and 2 to have success. And I just don't know if they can do that against A&M. And the other thing that concerns me is I'm still not sure about Joe Milton, and that defensive line is going to give him a lot of pressure. And as a fan of Tennessee, that I've watched Tennessee pretty much every snap, every game for decades, and I've watched all the Heupel games the last 3 years. This is the kind of defense that gives Heupel's offense problems. And this was the game that I circled before the season started that I had a big question mark on, that I just didn't like this game. The only good thing I will say is Tennessee comes off that bye week, so they are a little fresher than A&M is, but that A&M defense is nasty.
All righty. Chris, siding against the Volunteers. You hate to see that kind of stuff happen.
I know, and I hope Tennessee wins by a point.
It's sad.
Game-winning field goal. Well, I'm not going to money line it because I don't want to root against Tennessee to win, but I would not be upset if Tennessee's kicker, the Indiana transfer, if he kicks a game-winning field goal down 23-21 in the fourth quarter. That would be awesome. Woo.
Okay, speaking into existence.
Pumped up.
All right, and again, ncsports.com, Customer Appreciation Week, CBD, what you guys got going for the folks?
Thank you so much, Stu. Check out the Power Sweep podcast tomorrow. Tomorrow night it'll be up. We're going to have Sean Rhodes back on to talk some NFL. Me, Robbie, and Jim will be back on to talk college and tell my buddy Sassy Jim to suck it again. And Sean's hopefully going to give out some more NFL winners. He's done a good job this year.
Can we, going forward on the NC Sports Power Sweep podcast, which is phenomenal, can we just make it a standard rule whenever talking about Michigan, we call them the war criminals? Can we keep that going? Because I think that brought some good juju.
Don't have a problem with that as long as if a guest brings them up, then I probably won't. But if it's me, I will definitely refer to them as war criminals for you.
I appreciate that.
By the way, we had, I think, 3 callers call in this week and said, "Hey, there was a guy on the podcast last week that said if his totals play, the Century didn't win, we get all of his plays for free this year." And
you don't want those, believe me.
I'm like, so he doesn't actually charge. You just have to watch his podcast. So watch the Rob and Stu show. So you might get some new listeners.
Excellent.
We told him to watch the Rob and Stu show and get your picks, but we had to explain to him that it was kind of said in jest. You don't actually charge for anything.
Yeah, no, and here's the best part. That's great. I'm happy to hear that. If you're one of those callers, I got to make it. I'm a man of my word, right? The rest of my plays this year are free.
Oh God!
And I'm going to make it up to you with a one time only platinum game of the month. Platinum game of the month. Diamond Jubilee game of the month. Play for you today. Game of the year. I got screwed over, Chris. I got screwed over. The Zebras fucked me. The world was against me. Okay. I'll get to that in a moment. 30-23. Horrific week last week. 2-5. Could have been a lot better. Army blows the game with 20 seconds left. Ohio blows the cover with 1:20 left. The absolute abortion that was the Texas State game. But we're gonna get it right this week. I've been in the lab. I mean, Stu has been in the lab. Rob knows. I had a lab coat on earlier. I was FaceTiming him. I had the Jergens in the background. It was great.
Yeah.
Look, UGA first half -16.5. All the reason UGA is going to throw all these guys. I'm going to take the first half though. I feel pretty confident they're up 17-0 at least. I'm going to go Troy -4.5 at Army. world's greatest army, but that was a tough game against BC last weekend.
Shout
I
out
know
Joe
this game.
Bag.
Shout out Joe Baggs, war criminal.
Finally beat you. Yeah.
And he needed it. He's been tough times if you're a Giants fan, but I digress. Troy -4.5 is this game was 10-9 last year. I think Troy is they are a solid team. They just put a whipping on Arkansas State. They made Butch Jones cry again. He cried again. And that's sad to see, but I think this Troy team is rolling. I think the new Army offense is going to be difficult for Troy, in the sense that I think it's going to be difficult for them not to power bomb the quarterback as he drops back to pass. They've seen this offense before. They know what's going. Give me the Trojans of Troy -4.5. I got a midweek play. I like West Virginia. Now, the line is going up. I want to buy it down. I want to buy it down to West Virginia -2.5 here. I feel a little bit more comfortable, but I think they absolutely stomp Houston. Houston struggles against.
You're worried about a point? You think they're going to stomp them?
Well, I want to play it safe. These lines are sharp for a reason at this point in the season.
I can see the smoke coming off of that dome as you're talking.
Give me West Virginia. I think they run the ball up and down the field, but it's going to be a slow game. It's going to be a methodical game. I think WVU is a better team here, and the line.
And they will take pride in beating Dana Holgerson. They do not like him in Morgantown.
Well, that's true.
Yes, there is that too.
As I like to call him, Ernie McCracken.
Oh my God, that hair is insane during the game.
Houston's
great call
struggling this year.
He's a sloppy guy.
Yeah, that's a great call.
I got one total play this week. Maybe one more to come. I'm going to give one more play on the NFL show with Rob this week. Hopefully Rob will find a guest for us this week, Scotty or somebody for the NFL show. I'll give another play out, but North Texas Temple over 70.5. Points. Kurt Warner's son. He's Jean. That's what he's doing. Same with North Texas. It's like this offense has had a resurgence. These two teams play highly up-tempo. There's going to be a lot of points. Both defenses are objectively atrocious. I love over 70.5 North Texas Temple. Money's in the crumbs, folks. My dog of the week. Give me Oregon, the Oregon Trail. I'm going to bump it up to 3.5. I want the hook in case it's a close game. However, I think there's a good chance Oregon wins it outright. Washington, I don't think has played a defense like this. I respect Dan Lanning and what he's done. I think Washington's going to have some trouble here, and Oregon can throw the ball with Bo Nix, but they're also very good at running the ball, and I think that's something that the Washington defense can get exploited on. And now, Platinum Jubilee game of the month. Game of the month. This is my only Platinum Jubilee diamond encrusted game of the month. 2-1 game of the years. 0-0 Platinum Jubilee game of the month. And I'm going to tell you a story. It's real simple. One team is a clown car on fire. The other team is on their way to the Little Caesars Bowl. Give me the Rutgers Scarlet Knights -5.5. They are beating the absolute loving shit out of my Spartans. And I'm going to even reverse line this on some tickets because I have this game as Rutgers -9.5. I told you a few weeks ago, Rob. I am so happy that this line.
You're insane to lay 9.5. You're insane.
Rutgers is going to beat the shit out of the Spartans. And the
You
Spartans
know what, guys? I want to jump in on this too.
Yes. You want Rutgers on your card?
No, I'm going to take Michigan State. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, give me
take
Rutgers.
I
would
a free
take Rutgers.
victory for you. You want Rutgers?
Yeah.
I would be confident. It's just the offense is just so bad. The
5.5, not the death
Devil's
march.
number a little bit here. Don't like 5.5 as a number, but I think Vegas has this wrong, and here's why. I think they're overvaluing Michigan State in the Iowa game. Rutgers has a good defense. We all respect Rutgers' defense. I don't think Michigan State is offensively capable of scoring more than 14 points. However, I do believe Rutgers can score over 20. Vis-a-vis, this is absolutely it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. Caden Hauser is probably going to be your starting quarterback. Much better than Noah Kim in long term, but this is his first start. I do not want to start somebody with John in the stands at the Shy and all that. Yeah, Rutgers is going to pound the.
Daniel's going to want to feed. I'll tell you one thing right now. He's coming all day with the blitz. I already know that.
Oh,
He's
yeah. They are going. There's going to be some issues. Michigan State has got a lot of injury issues coming out of that Iowa game.
Rutgers has a lot of issues though with their offense. We can't throw the football. The forward pass.
I don't think that's so. I think Gavin Wimsatt. This is a game where if he actually tries to get out of the pocket and run, he's going to have a lot of success.
He took a big step back last week, I thought, versus Wisconsin. It was his worst game.
At Wisconsin on the road. Look, Gavin's got a ceiling, and he's pretty much there when he's on the road at Wisconsin. All you're asking him to do is just not turn the ball over, throw a touchdown pass to the other team when you're.
Yeah, they made him throw 34 times last week. I mean,
you can't do that.
He throws 34 times, we're losing. No,
I think at home, look at Rutgers, what they've done to mediocre teams. Look at what they did to Virginia Tech. Look what they did to Temple. Look what they've done to Northwestern. I don't think Michigan State is.
What about Wagner? What about they did to Wagner?
Staten Island.
How dare you? Wagner, how dare you talk about the Seahawks like that?
I'm talking good about the Seahawks. This team is back. You know, they only 2 of their 3 losses are the FBS teams. Wagner's legit. Wagner might make the playoffs this year.
Wow.
I'm not kidding. They have 2 conference wins.
What Cannaboid store you're shopping at, because I need to get some of that.
They have 2 conference wins. In that conference, they've already beat Sacred Heart and Merrimack. I don't know what I think they lost to St. Francis last week.
St. Francis is AIDS.
Well, that entire conference is.
I know last year they came into the game on like a 21-game losing streak. They did say this year they had won 2 in a row or something like that.
Yeah.
First time in a long time.
And Rutgers actually struggled with them for a little bit.
They did, yeah.
But, yeah, Rutgers is absolutely winning this game. I'm going to give you a final score prediction.
They haven't played St. Francis yet.
I'm going to say 27-13 Rutgers.
This is the biggest 2 weeks in Rutgers football in the last 15 years. They have a chance to get to 6 wins. The 20,000 Mongos, diehards, my dad, my uncles, Dave, John,
criminals,
my Uncle Jeff. I mean, it's just, this is our chance to get to a
It's 100%. Yeah, 27-13. And now Rutgers just has to finish the job off and beat an Indiana, a team they should, a Maryland team they absolutely can beat.
I don't know about that. Maryland played a good half versus Ohio State.
A good half. But yeah, Scarlet Knights, birthplace of football. They're bringing it back this week and beating the hell out of the Spartans. No Kenneth Walker. You guys are safe.
It's a shame that little car is not driving up from Virginia. Our friend from Virginia is just, he's just passed. He's not coming up this weekend.
So here's the thing. I've already been to Rutgers.
No, here's the thing. No, it's not.
It's going to be a long time before
You
want
to come up when Kenneth Walker's on the team. You're the guy that's in the line for the caviar. Well, guess what? Now you're in the line for the dollar buffet.
I'm in line because I got a trip in 2 weeks. What do you think? I'm not retired. I didn't retire from being security for Kyle Flood for 18 years.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, I've got oblos. That's right. I get one football trip a year. I'm not wasting it watching Rutgers beat the piss out of my team. I'm wasting it watching Kentucky beat the piss out of Tennessee. All right, that'll do it for us this week. Roberto and myself are back. NFL show coming at you later this week. CVD, hit him up at NC Sports. And remember, if this game of the month, Diamond Jubilee, does not hit, all my picks are free. Call him up and ask him. He'll tell you. Until next time, take care, brush your hair, and we'll see you after a while.